who can't even justify why anything they think is bad is bad. I just feel like it. I just feel like it. I don't like it when you do that. Man. Stupid. But speaking of that that conversation was kind of getting into the whole topic of free will, and that's why people succumb to um, things that are against uh, uh, Christian ethics and stuff like that is because we were given free will. Because without that free will, we would not have the free will to choose to follow God, to follow Christ, and that, and then you get when you get deep down into the materialist atheist worldview. Atheism isn't the worldview. Shut up. Shut up. But when you get deep down into it, it just turns every we're just mechanisms, we're just machines, and free will just doesn't exist. Like we don't everything's just input output, matter and motion. There's no soul, there's no mind, there's no I. Where's the you if we're all just these mechanisms? If we lack a soul, if we lack a mind, if that were true, there should be nothing that distinguishes us from anybody else, in my opinion. But let's take a look at this weird guy. This he's trying to justify uh the lack of the free will that we have. And I'm wondering, was he determined to come to that position? Or did he choose within his mind that we have no free will? Interesting. Interesting.
When confronted and pressed on why God would create and allow evil to exist in the world.
Ah.
When confronted and
I
pressed
keep on doing
why
that.
God would create and allow evil to exist in the world.
He's half right there. He allows it. He did not create it. This is and even that image that he's got right there shows the dualistic idea of God, which is when you get down into Christian theology and understand what evil actually is. Evil doesn't have an ontological place in reality. Evil was not created. Evil is simply the privation of good. If you go into Christian teachings, like even just going off from what the Bible says in the first days of creation, everything that God created was good. There's no part where it says, "Oh, well, then I created evil." No. Evil is not a creation. Evil is a result from us rejecting God, rejecting that which is good. It is just a privation of that which is good. Similar to cold. Cold doesn't have coldness doesn't actually exist. It's just the privation of heat. When you take heat away, it becomes cold. It's good. It's a good analogy towards that. But let's give this guy a try. See what he's got to say.
Most people respond that it's because God gives us free will,
True.
and therefore evil exists because of man, not God.
Yeah,
People
that's
may
right.
choose to do evil things of their own accord,
Mm-hmm.
or through the influence of demigods like Satan. But the good God has nothing to do with it, because his only part to play was in providing us all with free will. But is that really the case?
Well, let's test this out. If we don't have the free will to choose the things that we do, and we're all just determined to do these things, how can any of those things actually be evil, and how can any of them be bad if we have no choice in like how can you even be mad at somebody for doing something that you claim is evil if they have no choice in the matter? We're all just these determined mechanistic, mechanistic. I'm bad with words. I'm bad with words. We're just all these determined machines. Like how do you reach that conclusion that anything is bad? Because I don't prefer it. That's what it's going to get to.
Can God be so easily let off the hook? Does man truly possess this prized and pedestalized concept called free will?
Can we tell God how he ought create his creation?
Or is that, too, mostly an illusion?
Why I'm not
Firstly,
God.
It must be reiterated that God, by definition, being the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator of all things, is alone responsible for the existence of absolutely everything. That means
You know, they always bring those three up, which they are true. But they bring these up because they don't understand what it means. They don't get it. And I mean really our human minds can't understand. Like how can we even comprehend something that is immaterial? How can we comprehend what is it? What are the three words? Omnipresent. That's what I was going to say. How can we even comprehend God being in all places at all time? Like that's a lot for the human mind to even comprehend. But they bring this up because they think that this is a big gotcha, a big gotcha. Like they're like, I don't understand these things, so these things can't be possible. It's not how that works. I don't understand calculus. That doesn't make calculus not possible. Just because we don't understand things doesn't mean that they don't exist or that it's not possible. You get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
all things is alone responsible for the existence of absolutely
Wah.
everything. That means every mosquito, leech, lice, tick, flea,
Back to if God real, why bad thing happened.
hookworm, and every other blood-sucking parasite in existence. That means every earthquake, blizzard, avalanche, landslide, wildfire, hurricane, tornado, tsunami, cyclone, hailstorm, lightning strike, volcanic eruption, flood, drought,
All these effects of nature, these physical effects, how can you even call them bad? They're like I really don't understand how they don't understand this problem that they have where they're rejecting an objective standard, but then they still want like this is the big problem. They just want to be granted all these claims that they cannot justify. And when you try to get them to justify them, you're just using word salad. You're just they really freak out when people do presuppositional argument on them because they know that if they have to justify their claims, there is no justification for it. That's why they need the axioms. Because they dumb. They really dumb.
famine, and every other terrible natural disaster.
Terrible.
That means every flu and fever, hemorrhoid and
Think about that. Terrible natural disaster. If something is natural, how can it be terrible?
hernia, bruise and broken bone, every debilitating case of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, autism, asthma, allergies, measles, mumps, migraines, menstrual cramps,
Asthma's evil?
meningitis, and more. The list of agonizing ailments could fill their own book. Suffice to say, God created the conditions for a veritable buffet of suffering here on Earth. And when a child is born
Why is
with
that
a
bad?
torturous and terminal brain tumor, when a mother suffers and dies during a painful delivery, or when whole innocent families die of floods or famine, it is because the world was created to be this way. The world could have just as easily been complete without parasites, natural disasters, and diseases, but the inclusion of such creative
If God real, why I'm not God? Why can't the world be how I want it. That's literally all their argument gets down to. If God real, why bad thing happen? Why thing happen I don't like? It's so simple.
Torments.
They add in all this useless garbage that they keep on, like all these emotional arguments, and it really just comes down to that. If God real, why bad thing happen? If God not real, why good thing happen? Never want to talk about that. Never want to talk about all the good things that happen in the world.
Clearly the conscious and intentional choice of our Creator. Likewise, the necessity to constantly kill and eat the life energy of other sentient beings simply to survive must have also been a conscious and purposeful.
If God real, why I have to eat? How do people fall for this? They must just be just as emotional as Mr. Skinny Jeans in the earlier video that was screaming. Yeah. I mean that's the real reason why I'm doing this podcast. I want people to answer these questions on why they don't understand how stupid they are. Because I don't view myself as the most intelligent person, but I understand these things. So I'm having a hard time understanding how these people don't understand them. Because I guarantee this guy probably has some college education. Obviously, education doesn't equate to intelligence. Weird how that works.
Decision by our Creator. So where within such self-destructive choices determined by God?
And that's literally how they see the mind. Just a little engine.
Do us created, subjective beings living in this world have free will? Do I have the free will to stop lions from eating gazelles?
What?
Do I have the free will to end famines and pestilence?
What? That... Do these people just not understand what free will is? Like, that's not... You have the free will to try. You can try. But just because you can't do it doesn't automatically lead to, oh, we don't have free will. I can't end famine. I can't end famine. No free will. Like I don't get it. I don't can somebody please help me understand this? Like why?
What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm retarded. What's wrong with you?
Again! You fucking idiots!
I love that clip.
Do any of us have the free will to end the constant cycle of suffering here? How free are we really in the choices we make? Am I free to eat razor blades or drink gallons of bleach? I could...
What? Of course you're free to do that, but you're not free from the consequences of it. So is that what this guy's saying? Because there's consequences to our action, that means that we don't have free will. But you still chose to do it. I mean, we just showed the self-termination or self-deletion, however YouTube wants us to say it. That's why I don't like YouTube. It'd be a lot easier. But, you know, it's kind of fun trying to figure out ways to get around these dummies. But we just saw earlier that people are choosing these self-deletion pods. They're willfully going into them. You know, they're using their free will to just end it all. I don't think that these people know how to think. Like their minds are messed up. I don't get it.
Could attempt to do such things, but I'm certainly not free to do them in the sense of having no consequences or even tolerable consequences. Am I free to flap my arms and fly to the moon or breathe while swimming underwater?
You fucking idiots!
The Creator has already determined the range of choices available, allowing us only a limited list of options for any given situation.
You can't fly up in the sky, and that means you don't have free will? Ugh. Free will and determinism are like a game of cards. The hand that is dealt you, the hand that is dealt to you. How about picking a quote that, is worded properly? The hand that is dealt to you is determinism. The way you play your hand is free will. Oh my gosh.
For example, I may use my free will to jump off a cliff, but no matter how fast I flap my arms, no matter how hard I pray, and no matter how much self-belief or positive thinking I manifest, will stop me from smashing into the ground below.
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard. Anyone? Come on, don't be shy.
Gosh, my brain just literally pooped.
Just makes common sense. Beta!
Idiot.
I cannot will myself to fly. I cannot will another person to love me, and I cannot will away suffering, aging, or death. So where and when do we actually exercise this elusive entity known as free will? When I woke up and dressed myself this morning, was that an act of free will?
Yeah.
My clothing choices were constrained by my body type, income, climate, material, trends, and what items were actually in my closet. I could choose not to wear clothes, but that would start a whole other chain of events beyond my free will, where I might catch pneumonia.
The illusion of free will is straining under the weight of
might arrest me for
determinism.
indecent exposure, and I might spend the night locked in a steel cage, all for attempting.
The fact that we are not free from the consequences of our action does not equal we have no free will. Because obviously, you can choose to do those things that will bring on consequences.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
To exercise my supposed free will. There are far more determined
choices already made for us than the actual free choices we have to make for ourselves, regardless of how much we will them to be otherwise. When you consider the limitations of our physiology, physical laws, societal norms, personality types, character flaws, strengths, weaknesses, the will of others, and a host of other factors, the term free will reveals itself to be a complete misnomer. When carefully considered, the concept becomes so nuanced that it There can't be free will. If every moment is just the ultimate product of an earlier state, human choice makes no sense. Well, you're
presupposing that is true. That would be input-output. We are not input-output. When we receive information, we have the choice to either accept it or reject it. If it was input-output, any information that was given to us, we would just accept. Because we wouldn't have a choice. Ya idiot.
Disappears into a sea of
determinism. In ultimate terms, the only being who can truly have free will is God. Since God is the objective, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator, God has no subjective limitations, boundaries, dependencies, or competing wills to contend with. If God will, why not God? Physiology, the physical world, and the laws that govern it. God determined every aspect of our being, every cell, every organ, from our eyes to our toes, to our minds, egos, and emotions. Every twinge of sadness and every pang of hunger was designed to feel that way and to elicit certain reactions. We may attempt to use our freedom or exercise our will within those constraints, but it's analogous to fish swimming upstream a never-ending river. How can an objective creator being's omnipotence meaningfully coexist with subjective created beings' free will? If everything we see, hear, taste, touch, feel, and think
Was in
Why would he even put that in? He doesn't believe in a soul. You can't justify a soul. We're just determined machines. But we're only determined because we're not free from the consequences, and you can't go flapping your arms like a bird. That follows that free will is not real. Big brain stuff right here. Big brain stuff.
intentionally created to be that way by an all-powerful entity. How
See, and this is also the problem, is that, like, they don't understand the Christian position because they don't ever listen to what the Christian position is. However, since Christians value truth, we listen to the absurdities that these people claim, and we just shake our heads. They always leave out the fact that our world is not the way that it was at creation. We are in a fallen world. When you add that into it, oh, look at that. Everything makes sense. Crazy. So you can't say, oh, why God made this bad world? Why God make this bad world? Why you make a world I don't like? Why you make a world I don't prefer? Yeah, dummies.
How can we claim any thought-based decision, sense-based reaction, or emotion-based preference as our own? Think of it this way. How much free will do characters have in a dream? When you're dreaming, how much agency does each individual character in your dream have when making decisions? The dreamer is the sole arbiter of all decisions made in the dream. Dream characters have no autonomy whatsoever apart from the dreamer, because the dreamer is the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator of all dream characters and the entire dream world itself.
This guy has
People may
followers.
fancy
Why do I not
themselves
have
as separate
followers?
individuals with free will to act this way or that.
Do I just have to say retarded stuff to, like, get followers? Is that what I gotta do? Cause I mean, some of the things I probably say is retarded. I'm not gonna lie. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. I know I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But at least I'm not this dumb. Things could be worse. Always remember that. Things could be worse. But I guess I was just determined not to be this dumb.
Throughout the dream, but instantly upon awakening,
When you die, a piece of God wakes up and realizes he was only... What? Oh my gosh. Eric Dubay. So this is this guy's own quote. Because this guy is Eric Dubay that is making this video. So this right here, when you die, a piece of God wakes up and realizes he was only dreaming. So deep and profound. How do you justify that? How do you know that? You made it up? You dummy. I think this guy irritated me more than the woman prattler about moral relativism. Like, this is actually dumber. I didn't think it was possible, but you know, it got there. There's like 30 seconds left. Let's see what else retardedness he can spew out of his mouth.
The dreamer remembers that they were actually everyone in the dream. During the dream state of consciousness, each character believed they were exercising their own free will throughout every situation in the dream. But in reality, the one responsible for everything that happened, good or evil, comedy or tragedy,
You can't call things good or evil. There's no free will. Everything is determined. You dummy. What if life is the dream, and when we die, we wake up? People, don't do drugs. It's bad, McCoy.
the only entity who ever truly had any agency in the first place was the dreamer.
What?
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
True.
Come on, man. What are we talking about?
I have no idea. Well, that was fun. That was fun.